Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksvana. Thank you very much for joining us this evening here in the UK. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the most recent leaks showing the new details around the upcoming DJI Mini 4, as well as some clearer pictures. We also have a retail box leak, which not only gives us some more details on the specifications themselves, leaking some of those details, but also gives us a much clearer picture of where DJI actually see this drone sitting and the audience. Let me just crank this one up a second, sorry. So I'm just cranking my volume up slightly, as I noticed the autocorrect for some reason just pushed that down. There we go. Apologies for the change of audio there. So we're going to be able to see where DJI see this sitting in terms of the audience that they're trying to reach, because of course this is a fairly quick refresh off the back of the supremely popular Mini 3 drones. It really has been an extremely popular drone. I think a lot of people are going to be very reticent to want to move on from it. As we go on, let me know in the live chat. I see lots of you already piling in. If you're watching this live, and in the comments if you're watching the replay, if you're interested in buying the Mini 4, if the specs are around what we're going to be talking about today. But also, I'd be interested in knowing what your thoughts are on price. In terms of, are there any particular spec refreshes that we're doing which are enough to even raise the price of the Mini 3? Or would this iterative release, which really what it is, it's a refresh, slot into the range at the same price as the Mini 3 Pro, etc.? Whilst we're at it, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button. Yes, I have to do the YouTube a bit. And if you're one of our awesome regulars, do hit the like button nice and early, as usual, as it really does help the video. So first up, let's catch up on a little of some of the leaks that we've had prior to the latest ones showing up, showing the specs, etc. These leaks were these older leaks. Now, I would say that they're a little bit odd. They're not the usual leak pictures and spec rumors or even FCC filings. These are leaks, pictures of people actually out and about testing the drone. It kind of had the feeling of the car manufacturers out testing their latest models with the car bras on them, etc., trying to conceal the identity of the new model. Now, of course, it would be a tough thing to do that in terms of concealing drone identity, wouldn't it? But let's have a quick look at these pictures. So here we have one of the Mini 4 Pro hovering, and again, this was one of the first blurry pictures that we saw, and you can see this is taken as a zoom in from this picture here, which is slightly clearer, but of course slightly more zoomed out, as the person taking the photo seems to be almost stalking the person that's actually flying the Mini 4 here. And yeah, it's basically, you can see that it's very, very similar in these pictures. Certainly looks very similar to the Mini 3. Certainly in terms of the camera gimbal, etc., it looks to be very, very similar to the Mini 3 indeed. So a lot of people have been talking about, is this actually really a new drone? Is there going to be much excitement? A lot of these came out before the Air 3, and we started to see sight of the so-called stack sensor, which of course brings about some very nice looking footage. And here we can see the Mini 4 hovering, which again, you would hope it could certainly do that. And there's another one here showing it out in the wild, stretching its legs a little bit more, which again, it's exciting to start seeing these drones and to start seeing these early leaks. So following these stalker leaks, as I've decided to tag them, we've now had something a little bit more chunky. Firstly, there is actually a picture of the drone itself, and it's a front-on view. Clearly, we can see the new look sensors here on the front of the drone, as well as very tellingly the same camera and gimbal as the Mini 3 series, which we'll come back to in just a moment. The box itself shows the controller with a standard controller, which of course will be the refreshed version we've now seen released with the Air 3. The real information is actually on the back of this particular box, and this picture shows the following specs. So ultra lightweight, less than 249 grams. Okay, no real surprise there. I don't think we'd expect it to remain a sub 250. Omnidirectional active obstacle sensing, so the same as the new Air 3. Intelligent features, focus track, waypoint flight, and hyperlapse, all things that we would probably expect to see in the Mini 4. There's also some of the highlights in terms of the camera. 4K 100 frames per second, HDR video, 48 megapixel photo, true vertical shooting. So, and a 34-minute flight time there as well. So it's a lot of this type of spec is something, again, I think we would all expect to see. Is it something that will get you jumping up and selling your Mini 3s to actually get hold of, or if you've been holding off waiting for that perfect Mini DJI Mini drone to have that perfect spec level. Is this it? Do let me know in the comments. There is again mention of the flagship 20-kilometer full HD video transmission. So we are looking at 04 OcuSync setup there in terms of transmission. So again, exciting and a decent chunk of an upgrade, I suppose. So what does it tell us about the Mini 4 and where it's actually going to sit? Well, some of the parts that it's actually talking about, just switch my camera here. You can actually see, of course, that the Mini 3, if I bring up another little picture here, you can see that the Mini 3 is a little bit different in terms of it has those splayed sensors, which we would normally see on the Air 3 here. Now you can see that they're just angled out slightly more than just the flat sensors. So the Mini 4 picture there, you can see it has those. It has exactly the same gimbal, has exactly the same camera on there as well, the same lettering, etc. Everything clearly is there. It clearly shows that the Mini 4 has the new sensors, as I say, on the Air 3. They're slanted on the edges to create the so-called omnidirectional capability, as you can see on the Air 3 itself. You can see the camera and gimbal are pretty much the same. Even the little grills in the background there are very, very similar. It really does seem to be the sensors, which is the main upgrade in terms of physical looks. Now, although it's the same camera and same gimbal, there is, of course, the stacked sensor technology there, which is, it has frankly been pretty impressive, and they'll be coming to the Mini 4. Now, you might dismiss that as no kind of real camera upgrade, but anybody who has flown, or anybody who owns the Air 3 here would certainly disagree with that. The stacked sensor side of things has been a real game changer, and the quality of footage and pictures that I'm getting out of this drone is absolutely mind-blowing. I wasn't sure whether this would be able to replace the Air 2S for me, but it hands down absolutely does. It is an incredible little drone, basically. All of this would mean that we're likely to see the Mini 4 Pro sitting nicely just below the Air 3 with the one camera, of course, although it has the sexy stack sensor, which we've been mentioning a couple of times. And the Mini drone, of course, will be sub 250 grams. So we're going to start seeing a bit of a natural hierarchy of models, basically. In terms of when, I've been told the dates around the middle of this month, so September 2023, but we've no confirmation on that, along with the pricing. So remember to let me know in the chat or via comment if you're considering buying one of these new drones, new Mini drones, and how much they would likely cost. In terms of my thoughts on it, in terms of whether I would upgrade from the Mini 3 Pro to the Mini 4, the sub 250 gram thing is obviously a very big draw, especially here in the UK. If I could get the main camera on the Air 3, so the same sensor as the Mini 3, but it's got that stack sensor setup. If I could get that on a sub 250 gram drone, I would be extremely tempted, shall we say, for sure. So let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. Hogarth's astrophotography, sorry, good to see you. Geeksvana, going to predict when the event will and reveal the air date. Mine is Thursday this week. It will be announced, and the event's next Tuesday with all too familiar DJI video. Yeah, it's going to be something along those lines. I think that now we've started to see the retail box leaks. That's when we really do start to see things change. Although it's worth noting that the style of change, so that the way the leaks are actually happening at the moment has actually changed slightly. The way that Eagle gets his leaks, who's obviously one of the main chaps who's leaking at the moment, it's slightly different to the more traditional leakers such as Ozita and Jaspers, Ellens, etc. So there is a bit of a change there. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that. I wonder if it might be a week later, but I hear different dates from different people, if that makes sense, Hogarth. So yeah. 1M megapixels, considering it sits below the Air 3, I'd pay up to 950, same as the Mini 3 Pro, really. I agree with you. I think that I don't know. I always say this, I don't know if I'd upgrade. Like if you go back to my Air 2S, comparing that to what we knew of the Air 3 live stream, I said the same about this, and it's sat in my studio right now, having had a lot of flight time recently. So it's difficult. The stack sensor, the dual camera capability of this, it really did jump it above the Air 2S. It's a fantastic airframe as well. So if they did the same with the Mini 3 and the Mini 4 had similar jumps, I would probably have to say that I would upgrade. But again, I agree with you. It needs to be around the same sort of price. Christopher Taberner, I would not buy one until regulations are sorted out. Otherwise, it could be a complete waste of money. Yeah, absolutely. The call for inputs from the CAA and then the consultation, which is apparently they've kind of sneaked out that that's going to be next year now, which is leaving us in a little bit of a limbo. But that's on an upcoming video in terms of the full details of that. But yeah, some people are now going to be concerned in terms of, is something going to happen for the sub 250 gram side of things? I think that nothing will change really until 2026. So I think we've got a good amount of time, and if there are changes, to enjoy these sub 250 gram drones. Ken Sherman will take one for free if they're giving it. Absolutely. I don't see any new drone technology that's going to help me take better sellable images, quite honestly. And yeah, I can see that at some point these iterative refreshes, these little upgrades are going to stop attracting new people, certainly. Debbie Heaney, good to see you. I don't know if I'd be buying a new drone just now, not knowing how things could change in 2026. I completely agree, as we were saying with one of the other commenters there, Christopher. But I do think that even, you know, this Mini 3 will be very much out of date by the time 2026 comes around. Even the Mini 4 that's coming out would as well. So I'm not quite making decisions based on that yet, because I'm fairly confident we're going to keep the same freedoms until 2026. But certainly, hopefully, I would say late next year, coming into 2025, we should have a much clearer picture. But that seems like such a long time, doesn't it? Such an unstable way to do it. Evening out and about with David, good to see you. Jan, hi Jan, good to see you. Stack sensors are of greatest importance to still pictures rather than video. No, yes, absolutely. The way that the data is sped across the sensor, essentially across the stack sensors, the images are absolutely stunning on a stack sensor. Hence, there's a lot of the still photography side of things that really do like them. Elsmeghead, hi Andy, one of our senior moderators. Still waiting for my Phantom 5. I think you're going to be waiting just a little bit longer, unfortunately, Andy. I don't think Phantoms are quite in there. I look at a Phantom these days. I actually saw one over the weekend, and they're huge. You know, even when you actually look at things from the point of view of even looking at the Air 3 next to the Mini 3 here, and just the size comparison now, let alone anything as monstrous as a Phantom entering that picture. So I don't think we're necessarily going to see anything like that anytime soon, sadly. Beautiful Norfolk, good to see you. Be interesting to see if the battery is compatible with the 3 Pros. Then I wouldn't need to buy another Flymore kit. Yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? I don't think we get any kind of real hint about that from here. I think that the backs pretty much look the same. Although, saying that, let's have a look at the videos for that one to see if we can see any more of the back. Because saying that, when it's saying omnidirectional sensors, there should be sensors at the back, which would change the shape of the aircraft itself, and therefore would, of course, change potentially the aperture for the battery. Sadly, we can't see anything from those. Looking back at the back of this photo, it looks identical back there. So I'm not sure where the omnidirectional might actually come in. As you can see on the back of, we've got the front sensors here and you've got the sensors directly behind. Now on the Mini 3, we go back to this shot here and turn that image off. There we go. On the Mini 3 Pro, that is just an empty dot, basically. But it looks like on that photograph, that might be something more substantial. So perhaps the Omni sensors are stacked at the front here, and then the rear of the aircraft is the same. We'll have to wait and see once we get some more of the retail. Sorry, my OCD has to put those props away. Once we get some more of the leaked pictures, perhaps be interesting one to see, won't it? The Drone Detective, nothing will change as a yet undetermined date. Welcome to my world, PFSO, GVC, absolutely, same here. And now I have to do an A2 CFC to fly an Avata closer to 50 meters to people. The CAA changes the rules illogically, yes. And as anyone who's watching this, who isn't watching from the UK, you can probably tell we have a lot of frustration, pent-up frustration right now, aimed towards our regulator at the moment. So yeah. Looking at pictures of the Mini 4, it looks unstable. I think that most people agree with the other footage that's come out from that day of filming where the Stalker leaks were recorded, it seems to be very windy. The trees are moving around quite a lot and that type of thing. So I think it probably will still be fairly decent from that point of view. And as Elsmeged says, 3 days left to get your calls for input into the CAA, which is, of course, very important. There's about 5 videos, if you look back, explaining all of that. If you haven't heard about that in the UK, it is very, 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 very important. Norm Bright, good to see you. I wouldn't buy another upgrade. Stop wasting your money and making DJI richer. Well, you know, I have to say the DJI drones I'm buying myself, and this is only personally, are making me richer. Not from the content, because we don't really do how-to videos, etc. Although that is coming, or review videos. That is starting to change on Geeksvana soon with a new drone room studio that we're building next door. But in actual fact, with the work that we're carrying out, and since the Mini 3 Pro with its slightly more capable sensor came out, and it's just a far more capable drone full stop than I would say than, for instance, the Mini 2. This has actually started to become included within my commercial setup as well. So, and certainly the Air 3 is already something which I can identify quite a few client jobs I'm going to do there. So I can understand that, certainly from the recreational side of things, but I think it's something which I think is there is a lot of money to be made if you go about it the right way, basically. So there we go. Good to get people's opinions in the chat as well. We will, of course, keep you all informed of anything substantial in terms of Mini 4 Pro leaks. Stay tuned for more. I was about to say Sean out there, but I can see one more question. Any idea if they'll put a pre-built fan in the Mini 4? I doubt it. I doubt it. The fact that they're upping the ante in terms of the spec, etc., I think that, and the overheating thing really died down in terms of the Mini 3 Pro. I don't think so. And Dronology asking on the release date. We're being told the middle of September by most of the people that I find tend to be reliable, but I'm not entirely sure. It could well be October, but I would, if I was a betting man, I don't think middle of September 2023, so this month. I think that's probably about where I would personally lay a bet, but who knows these days, because we've been wrong. Excellent. Okay, so of the 150 people that are watching right now, please do hit that like button before we go. As I say, stay tuned on Geeksvana for more on the Mini 4 Pro as we find it. Anything that's more substantial, like the box with the actual specs that we've shown you today. Otherwise, we won't bore you, as it were. And we've got lots of other great content coming up this week, including some live shows focused on the UK regulations and a couple of spicy ones coming up later this week as well. So keep tuned and subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon. Sean out. Nice quick one this evening, wasn't it? Goodbye, everyone.